We are ready to begin the last session of our today's seminar with a focus on key opportunities and challenges in human capital investment. We will begin this session with a keynote speech delivered by Ibu Nita Djuwita Moeloek, Minister of Health, Republic of Indonesia. I'm now very pleased to invite Honorable Ibu Nita Djuwita Moeloek to deliver her keynote speech.
It is a great, It is a great pleasure for me to be a part of this very important event and to give the talk at this international seminar on human capital as a new driving force of economy. I would like to take this opportunity to share with you our perspective on health development as a key element in human capital investment. Let me start by saying that one of the most valued goals for human being is health. Health means a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being, including the absence of illnesses. In addition, health is an input in achieving sustainable development goals. The contribution of health to generate economic growth has been emphasized. Experts say that every 10% of life expectancy increase will contribute to 0.3 to 0.4% of the economic growth. A healthy population in country plays an important role in economic growth. Why is that? Because there is a connection between health and productivity. Health and education are investment in human capital to improve labor productivity. Investment of human capital is a major determinant of growth and development. We also know there are some factors that influence economic growth. Economic growth is an increase of the total output of the economy. It occurs when a society acquires new resources or when it's learned to produce more by using existing resources. Economic growth depends on the nature of the factor of production and how well they are used. There are some factors of economic growth included natural resources, human capital, capital goods, entrepreneurship. We also realize that investment in human capital is a major determinant of growth. Providing health care, family benefits, and more training and education are all investment in human capital. Economic growth would lead to substantial increases in investment in children's education and health. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important episode of life for health is the first 1,000 days of life. Why is that so important? Because the most rapid development occurs in the first 1,000 days of life, a critical window for learning to see, talk, walk, and sing. By the 101st day or the baby's second birthday, the brain has reached 80% of its adult size. The quality of relationship and experiences during this critical period set either a sturdy or fragile foundation for all of the learning, health, and behavior that follow. The first 1,000 days of life, the time spanning roughly between conception and 1 second birthday. It is a unique period of opportunity when the foundation of optimum health, growth, and narrow development across the lifespan are established. Nurturing early can benefit your child's brain development, while not doing so may stunt growth and restrict future success. Making sure children's needs are met in the first 1,000 days of life significantly increases their health and their chance of success. The 1,000 days between a woman's pregnancy and her child's second birthday offer a unique window of opportunity to build a healthier and more prosperous future. And therefore, a good health care and right nutrition during the 1,000-day windows has a profound impact on a child's ability to grow, learn, and thrive, and a lasting effect on a country's health and prosperity. The Human Development Index measures achievement in a country in three basic dimensions of human development: health, education, and income. Human Development Index Indonesia still lags slightly behind other Asian countries. Therefore, Indonesia must work hard in preparing qualified human resources. The effect of stunting on cognitive capacity is a national tragedy, not only in terms of economic development, but also for the young victim. Moreover, stunted children do worse in school, earn less in adult life, and are more susceptible to non-communicable diseases and obesity in adulthood. Given that young people are one of any nation most precious resources, especially in Indonesia, where there is ongoing demographic bonus. Demographic bonus is one of the advantages of Indonesia in the period of 2020-2030, with the number of productive age, including adolescents, are expected to reach 70% compared with the number of unproductive age. Indonesia should be able to take advantage of this demographic bonus. However, if the demographic bonus is not used properly, it will be a boomerang for Indonesian people, and this country might not be able to achieve what is known as Golden Indonesia in 2045. Ladies and gentlemen, one important indicator of early life health is the adequate of height. The micro-evidence find that childhood health is an input to producing other form of human capital, and that adult health depresses productivity as well. The childhood morbidity resulting from infection by tropical parasite and malnutrition may substantially depress human capital and subsequent income. Economists identified that investing in community nutrition is the most smart way to address the top 10 worst challenges. Investing in nutrition can help to cut off poverty cycle and increase GDP between 2 till 3% per year. The benefit-cost ratio for nutrition-specific intervention packages with greater than or equal coverage to reduce stunting. For every dollar invested in nutrition, there will be return for about $48 in improvement of health, education, and economic productivity. Some studies also show that the window of opportunity of the first 1,000 days of life, which is 9 months in the womb and the first 2 years post-birth, and effect of nutrient deficiency in this period to physical and cognitive is irreversible. Repair for 23 months is also still irreparable. In the context of global commitment, the MDGs have come to an end in 2015, and it has continued by Sustainable Development Goals. There are several goals in the SDGs, but health-related goal in this development framework is the goal number 3, namely to ensure a healthy life and encourage prosperity for all people in all ages. SDG 3 contain a number of health development targets. In addition to covering unfinished agendas such as reducing maternal mortality, neonatal mortality, and child mortality, HIV and AIDS and TB, there are some new targets that require our urgent attention. There are many aspects that require our urgent attention, such as deaths due to the non-communicable diseases, prevention of drug and alcoholic abuse, deaths and injuries caused by traffic accidents, universal health coverage, contamination and pollution, water, air, and soil, as well as the handling of the crisis of emergency. It's clear that SDG 3 cover all our health programs, and it implies that the overall health program must be implemented in an integrated fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, to improve health status, adequate health budget is required. Without any adequate health budget, it will be difficult to execute health priority program. In the context of Indonesia, health has become a priority of the government of Indonesia. And it is shown that health budget has been increasing significantly, almost double from previous year, since 2016 as the government commitment to meet the mandate of 5% health budget from national budget. Resources are scarce, however, health problems are complex. Therefore, priorities are important to deal with health problems. In the case of Indonesia, the government put some health priorities program in the national midterm planning. They are decrease of maternal and infant mortality rates, mother and child health, including immunization, nutrition improvements, especially stunting, infectious diseases control, HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, control of non-communicable diseases, hypertension, diabetes mellitus, obesity, and cancer. The intervention is carried out at the family level and involve other related sectors to improve what is known as Healthy Life Community Movement or GERMAS. The priority program of Government of Indonesia in health is known as Healthy Indonesia Program. It consists of 3 pillars. Pillars 1, Healthy Paradigm Program, which consists of promotive preventive health as a cornerstone of development, community empowerment, cross-sectoral involvement. Pillars 2, strengthen health services, which included improving access to health facilities, optimizing referral system, quality improvement. And Pillar 3, which is financing system with National Health Insurance Program, is to ensure access to health services for all population. The program will focus on family approach intervention to achieve healthy family. Ladies and gentlemen, solving health problems is a very fundamental. Ministry of Health Indonesia is continuously improving public health status through various health programs such as National Health Insurance, Human Resources in Health, the development and improvement of health infrastructure and health services. Health development in the period of the 2015-2019 or Healthy Indonesia program will strive to meet the goal of improving the health status and nutritional status of the community through health effort and community empowerment with the support of health financing. This will be followed by the program of Healthy Life Community Movement or GERMAS, which is a systematic collective action from all related stakeholders to raise awareness, capacity, and ability of the community to live a healthy life and achieve better quality of life. The goal of GERMAS are healthy life, be productive, create healthy environment, and minimize health costs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me end my presentation here, and thank you so much for your attention. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Ibu Nila Djuwita Moeloek. Please kindly return to your seat. Thank you very much, Ibu Nila Djuwita Moeloek, for coming to our event. Ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed this session by a discussion panel. And chairing this session would be Bapak Bernardus Jonoputro. Bapak Bernardus Jonoputro is the country head Deloitte Infrastructure and Capital Indonesia. So now, I have a pleasure to hand over this session to Bapak Bernardus Jonoputro. The floor is yours.
Thank you, MC, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the third session, quite a challenging session as we are getting into the last bit of this really, I heard it's a shiny afternoon out there in Bali. So let's get it over with. And we still have some very interesting topics this afternoon. As we know, early on this morning, we talked about how stunting rate is still alarming high and that the government still need to put an extra effort in early age healthcare. We learned from Ibu Menteri just now the extra effort that the government is putting on to avoid decrease in human capital quality in the future. If we also hear this morning that if stunting can be managed, it will add 7% to the GDP growth. So, and one of the key challenges that the government now, the challenge of the government is to have more inclusive and structural growth. And this is key to the government of Indonesia focus in addressing poverty and inequality. So the context of our panel this afternoon is to talk about human capital investment and how to leverage quality of health and education. For speaking in this panel, we would like to invite all the panelists to the stage. I would like to invite Fachmi Idris, the CEO of the Social Security Administrator of Health Indonesia. We have Astera Primanto Bhakti, the Acting President Director of the Indonesian Endowment Fund for Education. Areef Suleman. Areef Suleman is the Director of Economic Research and Institutional Learning from the Islamic Development Bank. And we would like to invite Ibu Rismaharini, the Mayor of Surabaya, which we all dearly know by reputation, one of the best cities in Indonesia, and Camilla Holmemo, the Program Leader for Human Development, Poverty and Social Development at the World Bank. Thank you, panelists. Continuing on the Pak Totok, yes, Pak Totok Suprianto, Pak. Pak Totok Suprianto, Head of the Agency for Research Development, Ministry of Education, and this is apology, Pak. So these are all the panels. So eager to finish this afternoon. Let us start with Pak Fachmi Idris. Pak, continuing on Ibu Nila's keynote, I think you can share with us the programs at BPJS and your key programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Moderator, distinguished speakers and all participants. How many minutes?
Okay, each of us will have about 7-8 minutes.
7?
Will that be okay?
Okay, let's try.
Thank you.
To increase velocity. Please, my slides. You can see about how about the BPJS perspective related with the key opportunities and challenges in human capital investment. For the introduction, I want to give a brief information related with the universal healthcare in progress in Indonesia. Of course, we have the challenging targets 2019. All Indonesian people must be covered by a scheme of national health insurance. Until now, the last Friday, total membership of this program has been 193.1 million, is around 75.1% of Indonesian population, based on the target of the roadmap is population of Indonesia 257 million. We very happy that in the end of 2017, there is some province, some districts, and some cities has been achieved universal health coverage. In terms of 95% of population in 67 districts, 24 cities, and 3 provinces is declared that province, that cities, and that districts achieve the universal health coverage. And until now, in 2018, there is 59 districts, 15 cities, and 3 provinces commit to achieve universal health coverage in 2018. So it means that more than 30% based on the districts, cities, or in Indonesia achieve the universal health coverage. We hope if all the districts, all the cities active to achieve this target, so Indonesian is not a dream. In 2019, all Indonesian people, at least minimum 95% has covered by the scheme of the health insurance. The situation, the current situation. And what the impact of JKN, we call this a GKN or JKN Indonesian language, Kartu Indonesia Sehat, Indonesia Health Card, as human capital investment. First, of course, improves health accessibility. From this data, we can see evidence on how JKN keys increase access to healthcare. Healthcare utilization increase after the program for our social economic segment, especially for the among the bottom 40% people. Outpatient utilization increase with the significant delta if we compare from 2013 to 2015. We can see that this program, that the inpatient utilization increase is even higher. That proves that the kind case is for the poor program. We can see from this data. We can see from the perspective of improved health accessibility here. So many people can access the health facilities. We have data, unaudited report in 2017. Then primary care, there's the utilization rate is 150.4 million people come to the Puskesmas, come to the GP, come to the primary medical care. And for the outpatient utilization, there is 64.5 million people can access the hospital in terms of the as outpatient utilization, and for inpatient utilization there is a 48.7 and 8.7 million here. Is show that how this program can increase accessibility for the people to achieve the health facilities. And second, JKN keys impact to health outcome, productivity, and economic growth. The pathway JKN KIS is connected with human capital is through improvement in healthcare access, of course, by providing access to healthcare during illnesses. JKN KIS help increase life expectancy and school participation. We can see from this picture that, so in the long run, healthy and educated individuals will likely gain higher income, which contribute to economic growth. Based on the result of our study, the JKN KIS program has an impact to Indonesian economic growth, both in long term and short term. From this picture, we can see in the long term, JKN will elevate economic growth through health enhancement, and the membership of JKN program will increase the utilization of outpatient and inpatient health facility that have presented previous, and increase the duration of inpatient utilization for 0.87 days. If the utilization increase, it will increase the life expectancy of community, where 100% of JKN participation can increase the life expectancy of the population by 2.9 years. Furthermore, improving the quality of human capital as measured by life expectancy and school participation rates will contribute positively the economic growth. As a result, every 1% increase of community participation in JKN can increase GDP per capita about 1 million rupiahs. This is from our study for 3 years related with the JKN impact to the human capital investment. Of course, for the short term, this program contribute for economic growth through improving the performance of other sectors. We can see from the picture, JKN program can increase output and labor from other economic sectors. This increase Indonesian economic growth. I mean, the study projected that the achievement of universal health coverage in 2019 will produce an output of 269 trillion rupiahs, and job opportunities will, there is additional for the job seeker for the 2.3 million people. So is the impact of the JKN as the one of strategy for the increase the quality of human capital. Of course, we can see how JKN KIS provides financial protection. We can see that the data that comparison that 2013 with 2016, before JKN, after JKN, we can see about this. So many people in 2013 use out-of-pocket money, so there's so many people down to below the poverty line, and now we can see in 2016 the reducing of the out-of-pocket for the health service. Not so many people down to poverty line in terms of all the quantile. And we can see another effect of JKN is the protects people from impoverishment. That we can see that JKN has saved around 1 million people from poverty in 2015, and same with 2016. These positive results are consistently gained in this calculation, both in 2015 and 2016. And we can see that for the poor people, JKN, the impact is protect the poor from the worsening. Of course, this morning, Minister of Health, Minister of Finance said about, and Minister of the Planning that said there is a 92.4 people protect by government. This means the premium paid by government, and the target in 2019 is target 107 million people. It means there is data that from that poor people in 2015, around 16 million poor people are protected to be the worsening condition. And of course, if we see the data that there is the addresses, JKN addresses to inequalities, that we can see the Gini ratio with JKN, there's an exercise, and Gini ratio without JKN, we can see that JKN can reduce the Gini ratio 0.003. It's look like very small, but it's very important to contribute to reduce the our Gini ratio index. And the last one slides, the challenges, of course, beside the impact of JKN for the human investment, we can see there is still some challenges in implementing the program. It's related with the membership expansion, financial sustainability, of course, the health service. For membership expansion, we have the problem with the adverse selection. So many people coming when he or she got sick, and after that he go away everywhere, we don't know where, and not pay premium again. We still have problem with ability to pay, and etc. Of course, today we talk about financial sustainability. We have to say there is this program still underfunded. The premium is not ideal, not based on the actual calculation, but the government have the strong commitment to spend another budget to fill the gap that the premium is not based on actual calculation. For the health services, we still have, of course, the problem in supply sides. So it's very important for us, for Indonesia, I mean, to improve the supply side to serve the member of JKN. From just to give us information that if we, of course, we satisfied that the Minister of Health said the government commit to fulfill the 5% of budget is based of the Health Act. So government must fulfill the Health Act, the 5% of budget allocated for the health sector. But if we compare to other countries, if 5% not still lower than another country around Indonesia. Of course, if we compare to the share to the of GDP, Indonesia is the lowest one, I think, in ASEAN, only better than Laos, and left behind the Malaysia, Philippines, and another neighbors. And for the closing, I want to say that health is an investment, human capital, which impact economic growth in the long run. We can see the data from our study, and now the government effort to strengthen national health system in Indonesia. We can see for the 4 years, I mean, until now, more than 193 million people covered by this program, and there are strong evidence that show the further investment in JKN case, in the national health security, or in the Indonesia health card is necessary to accelerate human capital improvement in Indonesia. Thank you very much, Moderator.
Thank you, Pak Fachmi. I would like to invite Astera for the next panelist. Thank you.
Okay, have a very good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is not the right time to talking about serious thing, yeah, but we try to keep awake, yeah, at least, yeah. And I think this session we will have a very, very different perspective, yeah, or object. So after we are talking about healthcare securities, right now I will try to talk about the scholarship. I think almost all of the previous speaker talking about the challenge, yeah, in Indonesia. Right now we have 255 million population, and also the rank of the human development index is number 113, and also for PISA we are number 62, is very, very far, yeah, from our neighbor country. So other than that, we also have another data here that for illiteracy, we still have 10% in Bali, Nusa Tenggara, Maluku, and Papua. And also for school participation rate, we still have 25%. And infrastructure deficiency, 3,100. And uncertified teacher, we still have 50%. This is show that we still have low quality of some of the teacher in the nation, and also insufficient quality for teaching. And if we look at the other data here for the higher education, as Pak Hanif mentioned, the Minister of Manpower, in Indonesia we have 4,962 universities. This is varies from a very low level quality until the high level. But we only have 3 universities in Indonesia. It's considered included in the top 500 universities. So we still have a problem also. This is has a very, very close relation, yeah, with the human capital development in Indonesia. Other than that, if we look at the budget, yeah, I think all of us here has already understand that 20% of the budget is a must. Yeah, so if we look at the budget for this year, we have 444 trillion. This is a magic number, 444. Yeah, and this 444 number, we also have the other program. For example, Indonesian Pintar program, we have 19.7 million students. Other than that, we have BOS Fund, 56 million students, and Bidik Misi Scholarship, we have 401.5 thousand students, and school rehabilitation and teacher remuneration. So we can look at the figure. And the government response for this kind of condition, first, right now government try to set up more competitive sovereign wealth fund for education. And other than that, we try to give the fiscal incentive, yeah, because most of the speaker in the previous session talking about the lack of incentive. So right now I will try to give clarification. Actually, under the tax law, right now, for the company who give training for the employee, they will have a deduction. So don't worry for the company, yeah, keep giving training, increase the competence of the employee, so you will have more deduction and lower the tax. This is a very, very good incentive that the government give. Also, other than that, the government give the grant for research and development And this is also tax deductible. So if the company giving the grant, yeah, for R&D, whether is it conducted by the company itself or the company will use the R&D company to do that, so the company will still have the tax deduction. And now I will try to talk about a little bit about LPDP. As we know that the government right now try to have like a pooling fund, yeah, for funding for the education, and the model for sovereign wealth fund we can look at in the slide here. For example, government pension fund, yeah, in Norway and in Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, and that is very similar to Indonesia is Punjab Educational Endowment Fund in India. And we try to have the endowment fund here in Indonesia is more competitive. So right now we try to have more transparent selection and information. Yeah, for information, until right now we have around 18,466 awardees, and our endowment fund right now is 31.11 trillion rupiah, and it will be increased more and more for the next years. The challenge is, if we look at the map here, yeah, so most of the recipient of the scholarship is still only in the area that is have everything. So if we look at Java Island, Sumatra, this is cover almost 40% of the recipient of the scholarship. So we still have a problem in the secondary and tertiary education, yeah, because they cannot have the opportunity to, at least they have the same level to the other colleague in Java, yeah, to enter or to get the scholarship. So this is actually the problem. And if we look at the destination of the scholarship, most of them are still in Indonesia. So right now we have around 51% scholarship in Indonesia and 49% in outside Indonesia. Outside Indonesia, the most favorite country is still UK. Do you know why? Because in UK, they can study only 1 year, they will get master degree. So this is very efficient also from our side. But the problem is, right now, this is a modus, yeah, for the applicant. So everybody try to study in UK. So it will be a problem in the future. So we try to make more diversity in the near future. And if we look at the major, until right now we still have engineering, science, and education. This is a 3 major, yeah, of the focus from the Indonesian government. So education is still one of the priority. Yeah, so we hope that by having this consistent policy, yeah, in the near future, at least our rank, yeah, for PISA, for the university will be increased very fast. And if we look at the gender, this is also interesting, because if we look at the current condition, female is more.
1 minute.
Yes, female is more compared to male, yeah, and this is the condition, I think, also the same in many areas. And this is my last slide. So what is in the future? In the future, we try to give more focus major in the scholarship education. Yeah. For example, if Indonesia want to have more infrastructure, so we try to look at the university that have a very good major in infrastructure, connected with infrastructure. For example, real estate and architect or other. But we will try to connect with the education. Yeah, this is not easy. Yeah, because sometimes the temptation to select the favorite university and also subject, it will be a problem. Yeah, so I think this is the sharing from our side. Yeah, and we hope that at least we can give the contribution. Yeah, to increase the competitiveness of human resources in Indonesia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Astera. I would like to invite the third panelist, Pak Totok Supriyanto from the Ministry of Education. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore, salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Salam. I would like to a little bit repeat a presentation this morning. And the Minister of Finance is talking about the progress of education and what needs to be done. We look at in numbers. If we look at numbers, then achievement of education is tremendous. Literacy rate going up, enrollment rate, years of schooling, expected years of schooling, all are going up. But disparities, rich and poor, decline, male and female disparities, urban-rural disparity, all declining. And this indicates that we are actually successful in terms of education, in terms of numbers. But the problem later on, everybody was talking about the quality. We are successful in the number, but we have problem with the quality of education. Also, literacy rate, we look at the illiterate people right now are mostly dominated by old women, poor, living in remote areas. While the younger people, 24, 44 years old, 15, 24 years old is basically increasing. Years of schooling, also as a result of 9 years basic education, universal basic education, our young people actually is getting more and more educated right now. Trend of enrollment since 2004 actually is increasing, keep increasing. The gross enrollment ratio, net enrollment ratio, we are in a good shape actually. But before we are talking, what is then the problem? ADP this morning also highlight the quality, and what matters actually is not the number but quality. But before that, let's look at the budget allocation. We are talking always talking that education has privilege because guaranteed at least 20% of government budget has to be allocated as for education, and this is true. But let's look at how big 20% of APBN, or how small. If we look at since the graph since 2001, indeed the proportion of education budget with respect to APBN, to government spending, actually increasing for 11% to right now around 20%, little bit less, 19 point something, 6 something. That is good. It's increasing. But if that black number in the percentage, in real term, this increasing very dramatically, red number. But if we look at the percentage of education budget with respect to GDP is basically flat. So yes, we are growing in terms of absolute rupiah, but with respect relative to GDP, actually flat, that is around 3.3%. I apologize for this unfinished graph. Next graph, please. So if we compare with other countries, I'm sorry, the graph is not finished yet, so the name of the countries does not appear here. Indonesia spent approximately 3.3% of GDP in education. Countries like Malaysia and Vietnam, with a similar share of government expenditure, around 20%, but actually spends more than 6% of GDP in education. So when we are talking how much budget we're spending for education, actually we're not talking in terms of numbers, in terms of how much rupiah, how proportion of APBN, but we need also to compare to other measures like GDP. And in fact, this is from years to years. The proportion to the GDP actually is not moving, it's just flat. So in terms of GDP per capita, education expenditure in Indonesia, around 12% is smaller than the level registered by Thailand and even Vietnam. And we look at what is the effect of when we're talking about quality. Yes, we are good in numbers. We're achieving so much progress in numbers, number of students and so forth, numbers of years of schooling. But let us look at the PISA, for example. We're way behind Vietnam. We're just back behind Thailand. It seems that there is indication that the budget matters here, with exception Vietnam. Indonesia, that's called IDN, the very low left-hand side, the lowest left-hand side, the blue dot, EDN. Actually, we are spending our expenditure in education per capita is just point something or 1 point something, very low, and our score is, yes, you know, all. But along the line, if we get more budget per students, then there's indication increasing the PISA, with exceptional, of course, is Vietnam. But I'm not talking here that budget is everything. Yes, it is important. There is indication that quality, that budget matters to affect the quality. But of course, it's not everything. Let's look at first where the budget, education budget goes. Our government spending is only 2,000 more, 2,200 trillion, and 441 trillion goes to education. And around 63 or 64%, it goes to as a regional transfer, as DAU and DAK, while those in the central is predominate within the MORA. It's not Ministry of Education and Culture anymore. So the first is within the central government, allocation is Kementerian Agama, that's 12%. And then the second is Kemenristek-Dikti, 9.2%. The third is Kemendikbud, that's Education and Culture, 9.1 or 40 trillion, and 17 others ministries. So there are, in Indonesia, there are many Ministry of Education. Ministry of Education and Health, Ministry of Education and Transportation, Ministry of Education, and there are 17 or almost 20 ministries that administering education, and it takes on this budget for education. So the money goes, but the important question also, what the money for? If it is big or it is small, whether the money is used for as a quality program. If we look at the transfer, then just go ahead with the slide number 14. This is DAU. The majority of DAU goes to salary, and very small portion it goes to non-salary. Basically, we have no room. There's no budget for quality improvement. Those out of budget transfer into region, actually very little improvement, very little room of budget for education improvement. And also, likewise for DAK, it's for post TPG, that's for professional tunjangan profesi guru. Basically, almost 60% or close to 60% or more than 60% goes as a teacher allowance, regular teacher allowance. If we look at APBD, excluding transfer from the central, this is the figure. Only a few provinces allocating their budget close to 20% as mandated by Constitution. Even one province allocate nearly 1% of their budget to education. So, yes, we are talking budget. It matters, but what is important also is to ask whether the money goes. Is it for a good reason to improve education? And in fact, our allocation shows that almost all the budget goes to routine spending. There's very little room for improvement. So let's come into how to improve then with the very constrained budget. Just look at how our students are doing. Just next.
1 minute.
All right. Goes next. Okay. This example. This is for your homework. This is actually PISA question, the type of PISA question. This type of question, that is not memorizing. This is actually inferencing beyond text on science. Actually, only 5% of our students are able to answer this kind of question. Also in math, this is just doing inference. We provide information about demographic pyramid, and then they are asked to answer a certain question, which is not available, directly available. Then our students tend to have a difficulty to answer only 1%, and so forth. So our effort is trying to develop a curriculum that is more 21st, this is the basic foundation to improve the curriculum, 21st century skills, with this, of course, foundational literacy, competency. This morning, Monica from McKinsey was talking about our student lack of critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration. These 4 skills actually give the student capacity to learn, long life learning, capacity to learn and innovate, and this is important for our youngsters to survive in the 21st century. And of course, the adaptability is very important, because for people to be able to be facing uncertainty and opportunity at the same time, they have to be ready to learn every time and has to be adaptable. So this type of competence need to be included in curriculum, and we are trying to do that. But the real problem actually is not on the document, it's not on intended curriculum, but actually on how we deliver curriculum, how to make our teacher actually deliver the curriculum as intended. This is illustration. In the past, our teachers usually tend to be more compliant instead of performance-based ideas. So somehow we are too much regulated. In education, too much regulates. So I completely agree with Pak Rudiantara that the role of government has to be less of regulating, but more facilitating, more accelerating, and that's need to be happen also in school. And then also assessment. Sometimes we need to, we would have a complete framework of assessment so that national exam is not abused to be used in every level of assessment, from the national massive one into very micro level of assessment. So in this assessment framework, we need a lot to be done. I would leave you with some challenge about the teachers. Our teacher, in terms of numbers, I know here there is Pak Kudrat from PGRI. We have good numbers. Student-teacher ratio, we have a very luxurious number, around 16, 17 in primary school, in SMP also around 15, SM around 16 or 17, so it's a good number. It's around like Finland. But look at the distribution. So the problem is not national number, but the distribution. Many schools don't even have PNS teacher, 0 PNS teacher. So those schools I think is the suffering most. Okay, and you look at the competence test from teacher. It's basically it's not enough to do paradigm change of teaching. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pak Totok. I would like to invite Pak Areef Suleman from the IDB to share his views and perhaps experience in other countries.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'll do a very quick, short presentation. I know this is the graveyard shift. People are tired. We haven't seen the supposed sunshine that you speak of. So hopefully we get to see the sunset at least. Very quickly, in terms of those that don't know the IDB, we've been around since 1975. Currently 57 member countries, all of them emerging markets and developing economies, so all, Okay, and the IDB pretty much set up with a mission of promoting comprehensive human development. Now, in terms of comprehensive human development, the question that would arise is, why is the IDB interested in building human capital, or the whole concept of human capital? A couple of key reasons, and what you see on the screen is the negative side of it. We have a high concentration of countries that are facing significant development challenges. In terms of the population mix, IDB member countries account for around just under 25% of total population, but we have a disproportionate share of internally displaced people in fragile situations, etc. So around 60% of all of those in difficult situations, meaning refugees, forced migration, internally displaced, 60% of those are in our member countries. Now, this is a huge challenge for an institution like ourselves, but that's all the negative side of it. On the flip side of it, why is this important to us? This returns on education have been shown to be around 10% or over 10%. There's a positive relationship between education, income, and wealth creation. Some of these things were discussed this morning. On the health side, we've seen those that are more educated, health outcomes are better, health management is better, and then also on the other area is around productivity. Some studies have shown that around 20% of productivity improvements are attributable directly to education. So clearly this is an important tool for us as an MDB to try and get impacts happening on the ground and to foster socio-economic development in our member countries. Now, I'm not going to talk through this slide because you've probably seen something similar this morning in terms of the Human Capital Index, but just to say that for an institution like ourselves, the bottom 14 on this index, 9 out of the bottom 14 are IDB member countries. Indonesia performing better than the average of our member countries, but clearly nowhere near where it needs to be. Okay. Now, I've mentioned already the relationship between human capital and income per capita. The higher up you move on the human capital index, clear relationship between that and income per capita. And this is something that we want to see across the board from our member countries. Now, let's move directly into the opportunities, challenges. In terms of advanced economies, what one is finding is that they have the complaint that their populations are aging. We heard this morning Japan with a similar sort of concern, aging population. Our member countries, Indonesia specifically, have the flip side of the coin. We have very youthful populations. In terms of IDB member countries overall, currently We have around a quarter of our population being youth, and that is projected to be up to 1/3 as we move forward. Now, this youthful population, the millennials, are no longer satisfied with what we had previously. They have access to information. We've seen that if we don't engage them and we don't include them in the development process, there are consequences for government. And for us as an MDB, there are challenges. So the challenge remains how to turn these potential opportunity of this youthful populations, the millennials, how to tap into them to the benefit of our economies. Because in terms of the workforce that we have, strong potentials and have the potential to contribute significantly to the economy. What that calls for from all of us is enhancing the education system, and this is at all levels, but here we're talking not only access, because we've seen the investments in education, but what we haven't seen is the quality of education coming through. So a lot of our member countries, not just Indonesia, big investments going into education, but the quality of education still remains a concern. Lack of emphasis on technical and vocational training. We've heard a lot about this morning, so I'm not going to get into detail on that, but clearly this is an important part of ensuring employability of youth as they come out of the system. Now, even with the best education systems, high quality of students coming out, unless there are opportunities for them to be absorbed into the economy, you're still going to be faced with key challenges. And unless we have these opportunities for them to engage and for them to be employed in our countries, we're going to lose the youth to other countries, which brings me to the next slide. Sorry, let me come back to that. Okay. Now, again, we've had discussions around technological change, artificial intelligence, jobs for the future. What is the scope for the youth moving forward? Are these technological changes, are these advancements, the fourth industrial revolution, is this going to be something that we can harness to our benefit, or are we going to sit back and say, well, we're not sure, people are going to lose jobs, or we look at how do we reskill people, and we've had examples this morning on the importance of reskilling of people. So technological advances will clearly have an impact in terms of jobs, but not only in terms of the number, but also in terms of quality. IDB has been involved in a couple of initiatives in terms of looking forward, and I'll talk to that a bit later. But this brings to us a huge opportunity in terms of potential higher productivity arising out of better connectivity, faster economic growth, but also faster sharing of knowledge and ideas. If you look at IDB member countries overall, in terms of the skills of the population, that hasn't been improving at the levels that it needs to take place. Now, the question is, how do we incentivize human capital or investments in human capital? Now, the challenge is that it is not something that government can do on its own. It's, government is part of the process, but importantly is the private sector. So how do we incentivize private sector to start investing in human capital? Now, here things around the overall business environment, policy, regulatory reforms, etc., come into play. The last issue that I would like to talk around is in terms of public financing. Now, here we're faced with the problem of the political time horizon. Politicians tend to look 5 years till the next election, or 4 years depending on your country. And with the short-term time horizon, it becomes difficult to have long-term planning. Because education, we've heard this morning again, the return on that investment you will only see in 15 to 20 years' time. Now, historically, investments in public investment in education has not yielded the sort of results that one can see and is visible immediately. In terms of outcomes, there's many studies that were quoted this morning, 3 to 5 years of education, and still the students are functionally illiterate or cannot do basic arithmetic. So clearly, when government is investing, they need to invest, or they tend to invest in something which is tangible, which is visible, easier to help them get elected the next time around. The investments in education don't give you those quick short-term returns. Also, governments faced with financial constraints and competing priorities. Here again, the issues around public-private partnerships become an important element in terms of delivery of education. We've seen, or we've heard earlier today, issues around how to tap into the technology to be able to push education towards much larger audiences as previously. So historically, you had very small classrooms, 10, 15, 30 students. Now, with technology, the internet, the potential of reaching millions of students in one go is there. Now, in terms of the education itself, the challenge again with government is how to ensure better quality in public expenditure. So it's that efficiency in the expenditure. The earlier speaker spoken around public expenditure and how it is channeled through the system. How do we ensure efficiencies, and how do we leverage on technical partners outside the country to assist in curricular development? How do we ensure sharing of knowledge across different countries? Now, in terms of IDB itself, our interventions by and large also throughout our member countries, education has not been the core of an institution like IDB. Bulk of our money has been going into investments in infrastructure, education being a smaller percentage thereof. In the case of Indonesia, very different. Around 34% of our investments in Indonesia have gone into education. This is very different from the other member countries, where on average we're looking at 13%. So clearly Indonesia, strong push on education, and we can see that long-term, countries that have invested heavily in education have yielded the right sort of results. So the push, the fact that the fact that Ministry of Finance has arranged this session today shows that they see the long-term impact and the potential return that this investment can have on the country itself. So again, just to commend the country for pushing on the education side. Very briefly, in terms of current initiatives that the IDB is involved in, which could be tapped into, the one is the reverse linkage program, which has been very successful, where we share knowledge, or we facilitate the knowledge transfer between our member countries. So it's a South-South cooperation. We're also involved with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on something called the Live and Livelihoods Fund, which is there to assist on terms of concessional financing. We've recently launched the Science and Technology Fund to fund scientific scientific development and innovation in our member countries. We've also relooked at our whole business model to focus more on collaboration, partnerships, and being more decentralized. Bottom line, we have no real choice. We have to make a difference. We have to invest in the sector. There is the trade-off between the short-term and long-term. The question that was asked this morning, do we invest in infrastructure or do we invest in education? It isn't an either-or. There's a balancing act that needs to take place. Government, there is that trade-off, but there is the balancing act that needs to take place. We have a short window of opportunity. The demographics are in our favor in Indonesia and in many of our member countries. You have the political will to transform. There is a strong push for economic diversification and job creation. So we have to seize the moment and embrace the change. MDBs can no longer play the role that they've been playing for the last couple of decades. So very important that they need to reinvent themselves, play the role of facilitator, and start bringing together knowledge partners, because we don't have enough money to address the challenges that are required. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Thank you. Thank you, Areef. All day we talked about, previous speakers talked about the role of central governments and private sector, and I think it's now time to look at what's happening on the grassroots level, which is on the local government. I think this is very important. And how do you see when things work in a local government or in a city, when the behavior of its residents or its people starts to change, and we see change? And one of the cities that we've seen changes are evidence is Surabaya. So I would like to invite Ibu Wali to share with us your experience and perhaps some key highlights of today. Thank you.
Sorry, I will speak in Bahasa. So I'm sorry because my English is not good, so I'm trying to speak in bahasa. Bapak Ibu sekalian yang saya hormati, pertama kali saya mencoba bagaimana yang pertama adalah bahwa pendidikan dan kesehatan itu hak seluruh masyarakat Surabaya. Karena bagi saya itu adalah hak asasi dari manusia. Karena itu yang saya lakukan adalah pertama kali saya menjabat di Surabaya adalah pendidikan dan kesehatan gratis untuk seluruh anak se-Surabaya. Baik itu sekolah negeri ataupun sekolah swasta, dia berhak mendapatkan bantuan dari seluruhnya dari pemerintah Kota Surabaya. Kalau pemerintah pusat memberikan BOS, kami memberikan BOPDA. Dan itu pun hanya untuk operasional sekolah. Untuk pembangunan fisik dan peralatan, kami bantu di luar BOPDA. Jadi itu kenapa kemudian di Surabaya pendidikan bisa gratis. Kemudian kenapa ini gratis? Karena bagi saya itu anak miskin itu seringkali tidak percaya diri dia untuk bersekolah. Karena itu untuk dia bisa percaya diri maka sekolah harus gratis sama yang kaya maupun yang miskin. Dan itu kami lakukan dan Bapak Ibu sekalian kemudian apa yang kita lakukan? Jadi kalau usia anak sekolah dia wajib untuk sekolah. Tapi kalau dia anak-anak di bawah usia 18 tahun tapi dia sudah putus sekolah lama, maka kami kemudian menyekolahkan di sekolah vokasional. Khusus kami bekerja sama dengan Surabaya Hotel School, kami bekerja sama dengan beberapa lembaga yang bisa bagaimana menciptakan pekerjaan secepat mungkin di saat dia sekolah selesai, dia bisa langsung bekerja. Dan Bapak Ibu sekalian kemudian kami memberikan beberapa, saat ini kurang lebih anak kami jadi chef di restoran di beberapa negara, kurang lebih antara 100-110 anak. Mereka ada jadi chef di beberapa negara di Malaysia, Singapura, Jepang. Dan mereka itu sebagian besar adalah dia saat tidak lulus SMA. Dia putus sekolah SMA, kemudian kita sekolahkan di Surabaya Hotel School, dia ngambil dan berapa kapal pesiar, itu adalah chefnya adalah dari anak-anak kami. Nah kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian, kemudian apa yang kita lakukan setelah itu? Setelah sekolah gratis dia SMA. Kalau seluruhnya harus masuk perguruan tinggi, pemerintah kota tidak memiliki biaya sebesar itu. Karena itu kami memberikan juga beasiswa untuk vokasional. Kami bekerja sama dengan Garuda Maintenance Facility, di mana anak-anaknya sekolah 9 bulan, kemudian mereka dapat bekerja di situ. Kemudian kami menyekolahkan anak-anak menjadi pilot, sekarang ini mereka jadi pilot di Citylink, dan kemudian sekarang ini kami juga lagi hire, kita sekolahkan mereka di sekolah pramugari, dan kurang lebih ada 25 anak Surabaya saat ini sudah jadi pramugari di Citylink. Kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian yang kita lakukan juga adalah kami bekerja sama dengan universitas, jadi kalau grade-nya, saya selalu katakan, kalau anak orang kaya itu pintar itu biasa. Tapi kalau anak miskin itu bodoh itu juga biasa. Karena mereka tidak punya fasilitas. Karena itu yang kita lakukan adalah saya bekerja sama dengan perguruan tinggi negeri di Surabaya. Tapi saya grade-nya saya turunkan, kami membuat kelas khusus untuk vokasional. Jadi dia kuliah kurang lebih di 3 tahun, dia seperti D3. Tapi saat ini mereka sudah pada bekerja dengan sendirinya karena mereka bisa menciptakan pekerjaan sendiri dan karena saya sudah 5 tahun di jabatan saya lebih. Sehingga banyak sekali anak-anak ini yang sekarang sudah mereka punya usaha sendiri. Nanti saya akan jelaskan bagaimana kemudian kami mendidik. Nah kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian apa yang kita lakukan saat kita kemudian sekolah gratis? Kami membangun kurang lebih 1.400 perpustakaan. Dan perpustakaan itu buka sampai jam 9 malam. Kenapa jam 9 malam? Karena itu adalah tempat untuk anak-anak belajar. Jadi kalau mereka tidak punya orang tua tidak bisa mengajari, maka dia bisa belajar di situ. Kakak-kakak di perpustakaan tadi wajib untuk kami meng-hire anak-anak mahasiswa untuk menjaga perpustakaan, kita gaji mereka, kemudian tapi mereka wajib memberikan training kepada anak-anak. Ini yang trainer untuk perpustakaan ini kita tes. Jadi kita punya tes khusus untuk mereka menjadi trainer untuk anak-anak di anak-anak sekolah SD, SMP, dan SMA. Dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, kemudian berikutnya apa yang kita lakukan juga untuk pendidikan, kami membuat namanya rumah matematika. Kalau anak orang kaya dia mampu les untuk belajar matematika, anak miskin tidak mampu untuk membayar itu. Karena itu kami membuat namanya rumah matematika. Saat ini, dan ini semua pengajarnya, itu banyak profesor, doktor dari perguruan tinggi, yang itu relawan tidak sama sekali kami bayar. Kami hanya memberikan penghargaan, saya tanda tangi sertifikat penghargaan dari saya, itu aja. Kemudian kami juga membuat namanya rumah bahasa. Saat ini kurang lebih ada 12 bahasa dan ada 77 relawan, dia yang mengajarkan kepada anak-anak untuk belajar bahasa. Ini juga untuk menyambut masyarakat ekonomi ASEAN, untuk 12 bahasa asing ada di situ. Kemudian di tempat kami, itu kami membuat seluruhnya di beberapa tempat, itu kami punya 1.900 titik free wifi. Kenapa kami membuat 1.900 titik free wifi? Karena kami, anak-anak kami itu belajarnya dengan seluruh belajar mengerjakan soal-soal, semua pakai teknologi informasi, jadi semua online. Jadi anak-anak ulangan ujian menggunakan online. Dan kami punya 44 titik broadband learning center, itu adalah fasilitas di mana kami memberikan ruangan, kemudian di dalam ruangan itu kami fasilitasi unit komputer dan itu ada trainernya juga yang di mana anak-anak bisa mengerjakan tugas, para ibu-ibu rumah tangga bisa belajar menggunakan teknologi informasi dengan gratis. Kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian, jadi kami mencoba memberikan pendidikan itu mulai ibu hamil sampai dengan lansia, kami ada pendidikan. Jadi kalau ibu hamil kami ada punya training untuk ibu hamil. Jadi di situ diajarkan bagaimana cara proses melahirkan, bagaimana mengajarkan anak di dalam kandungan. Juga ada untuk, jadi kami punya posyandu ibu hamil, kami punya posyandu balita, kami punya posyandu remaja, di mana di situ ada psikolog, ada guru yang dia juga memberikan fasilitasi untuk anak-anak kalau mereka punya masalah. Karena sekarang ini permasalahan remaja luar biasa, kami juga punya posyandu lansia. Di posyandu lansia, di posyandu remaja kami memfasilitasi anak-anak untuk bebas imunisasi, bukan hanya untuk imunisasi yang sekarang, tapi imunisasi untuk hepatitis dan imunisasi untuk kanker serviks. Ini mahal sekali, tapi kami harus bayar untuk mencegah anak-anak kita terhindar dari bahaya-bahaya penyakit yang tadi saya sampaikan. Kemudian untuk posyandu lansia, kami memberikan makanan gratis 1 bulan 4 kali. Mereka kita rangsang untuk mereka bisa datang, mereka melakukan senam, tapi yang datang itu bukan hanya lansia. Dan kami memberikan pemeriksaan gratis untuk cek gula darah, cek asam urat, cek kolesterol, kemudian cek tekanan darah dan sebagainya. 1 bulan dokter datang di situ memeriksa di posyandu lansia. Itu yang kita lakukan untuk bagaimana membangun manusia. Nah kemudian untuk anak-anak di sekolah kami, kenapa kemudian Human Development Index kami sebelumnya selalu kalah dengan Jakarta dan selalu kalah dengan kota Bandung. Tapi sekarang insya Allah kami tertinggi di Indonesia karena kami sudah di atas 80,3. Dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, kenapa? Karena kami juga memfasilitasi sekolah. Jadi sekolah saya bongkar, kita buat 3 lantai, ini melatih untuk anak-anak untuk olahraga juga. Jadi sengaja dia pelajaran ini jam sekian sampai jam 9 lantai 3. Nanti pelajaran yang berikutnya kita atur dia di lantai 1, naik lagi ke lantai 2 gitu. Tapi gurunya stay di situ. Nah, ini yang kita ajarkan. Jadi kita bongkar gedung itu, nah kemudian kita semua buat lantai 3. Nah, kemudian kita fasilitasi anak-anak dengan olahraga. Jadi ini yang membuat kenapa Surabaya, mohon maaf, tidak ada tawuran dan sebagainya. Karena kami punya kurang lebih 360 lapangan olahraga. Dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, di sekolah kami juga membangun fasilitas olahraga. Kemudian kami juga mendidik anak, jadi kualitas toilet di sekolah SD pun kami setara dengan bandara. Ada urinoir, ada wastafel, kami mengajarkan anak-anak untuk bagaimana mempunyai sikap yang baik. Ini 361 lapangan olahraga kami. Nah kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian, di Surabaya tadi saya sampaikan bahwa ibu hamil itu kalau dari keluarga miskin, maka semua makanan kita tanggung sampai dia anak usia 2 tahun. Jadi saya tidak ingin ada anak kekurangan gizi di Surabaya. Karena itu ibu hamil miskin kalau dia terdaftar di data kami semua pakai online data kami, jadi saya tahu berapa orangnya. Nah ini mulai ibu hamil sampai ibu melahirkan, orang penderita kanker, orang kena HIV AIDS, itu makanannya kami tanggung semua. Kita berikan gratis makanan, penderita TBC, kemudian penderita pasien kusta, semua kita tanggung. Kemudian kesehatan di kami membayar BPJS, mungkin kami terbanyak di Indonesia karena penduduk kami 3,3 juta, yang kami bayar ke BPJS itu 2.700.000 orang. Jadi kami pembayar terbesar mungkin Pemda kami, tapi kami juga punya yang namanya BPJS non kuota. Kalau dulu Jamkesmas. Jadi kalau BPJS non kuota ini kita gunakan. Pernah seorang polisi, dia seorang polisi bawah, dia harus pasang ring 5. Ternyata dengan BPJS hanya ditanggung 3. Maka yang 2 ringnya itu ditanggung oleh pemerintah kota. Jadi itu yang kita lakukan. Jadi di sini ada Jamkesmas yang kita bayar rutin, BPJS yang kita bayar rutin ke BPJS, tapi kami punya BPJS non kuota yang itu untuk cadangan kalau dia ternyata tidak mampu bayar, tapi dia belum masuk di dalam BPJS kami, yang kami tanggung, maka itu kita keluarkan untuk bayar pengobatannya. Jadi tidak boleh ada warga sakit tidak bisa bayar. Kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian, yang kita lakukan adalah kalau anak sudah putus sekolah, kemudian dia tidak bisa ya secara kita tes psikolog, dia tidak mampu secara intelijensinya, maka kemudian kita ajarkan mereka membuat usaha. Kami punya program namanya Pejuang Muda, itu adalah melatih anak-anak untuk berwirausaha. Dan saat ini sudah beberapa, kalau mereka pendapatannya bersih sehari bisa sampai 10 juta, itu sudah biasa bagi mereka. Sehari Bapak Ibu sekalian. Jadi ini anak-anak muda luar biasa. Nah kemudian untuk ibu-ibu miskin, maka kita ajarkan kalau suaminya sudah bekerja, tapi ibu-ibu masih miskin, maka kita latih ibu-ibunya untuk dia bisa bekerja. Jadi saya wajibkan di Surabaya suami istri, kalau dia tidak mampu harus dia bekerja. Kalau dia tidak bisa bekerja di luar, dia harus bekerja di rumah. Itu ini kita wajibkan, dan dari 89 kelompok saat ini kurang lebih tergabung 8.600 kelompok. 8.600 itu ada yang pesertanya ada 3 orang, ada yang sampai 200 orang. Dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, panjenengan mungkin tidak percaya, ini ada yang omsetnya 1 bulan itu 1,6 miliar. Dan keuntungannya itu bisa sampai 500 sampai 600 juta. Jadi Bapak Ibu sekalian sudah beberapa di antaranya sudah bisa ekspor. Jadi ini yang kita lakukan, bagaimana kemudian kehidupan di Surabaya itu lebih baik. Kami mempunyai juga, kalau pedagang kaki 5 itu kita tempatkan di sentra PKL. Kita bangun pasar-pasar untuk pasar tradisional baru. Kita bangun banyak sekali pasar tradisional. Nah kemudian kami punya kampung-kampung unggulan di Surabaya. Kemudian kami punya program di sini, Bapak Ibu sekalian. Kalau Bapak Ibu sekalian di Surabaya, kenapa tidak ada pengamen? Karena pengamen itu kita bayar. Mereka main di taman, mereka main di di sentra PKL, kita bayar 1 kali pentas 2.500.000. Tapi dia nggak boleh minta. Dia boleh taruh kaleng, tapi dia nggak boleh minta. Nah, ini yang kita lakukan Bapak Ibu sekalian. Kenapa kemudian angka pengangguran kami, kalau datanya surveinya BPJS itu masih dia harus sekian hari bekerja. Kadang mereka memang kayak ini misalkan pengamen, dia mungkin bekerjanya 1 bulan itu hanya 1 minggu, tapi dia bisa dapatnya 10 juta. Kenapa? Karena itu tadi. Dan kami juga bekerja sama dengan beberapa perusahaan untuk bagaimana kami, jadi ada kepastian. Misalkan saya kerjasama dengan perguruan tinggi, maka saya ini harus bisa ditempatkan di mana, begitu. Itu harus ada kepastian. Seperti anak-anak begini, Pak, anak-anak yang ngamen ini kita didik dia, kita latih dia bermain musik. Nanti saya masukkan di kafe, saya masukkan di karaoke seperti itu. Nah, itu kita masukkan seperti itu. Jadi kita masukkan seperti itu. Nah, kemudian berikutnya warga kami juga kita ajarkan bagaimana membuat produk di rumah untuk misalkan urban farming. Jadi kalau daerah lain bingung misalkan beras naik, ini naik di Surabaya enggak. Kami punya sawah sendiri. Kami punya program urban farming sendiri. Kalau dulu kami inflasi kita tertinggi itu sayur mayur. Tapi sekarang enggak lagi karena kami bisa menanam sayur mayur sendiri. Ada yang hidroponik di sekolah-sekolah dan ada yang di kampung-kampung kami membuat program seperti ini. Ini yang kita lakukan di Surabaya sehingga tidak boleh ada warga Surabaya yang nganggur dan tidak boleh. Nah, ini yang tadi kenapa kemudian indeks pembangunan manusia kami naik dengan pesat dan Gini rasio kami terendah dibandingkan kota-kota besar di Indonesia. Jadi dibandingkan Jakarta, kemudian dibandingkan Bandung, kami Gini rasionya terendah di kota-kota besar tadi. Jadi ini kita bisa lihat datanya. Kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian, awalnya memang saya tidak percaya dengan pertumbuhan ekonomi karena saya khawatir gapnya semakin jauh. Tapi ternyata kita membuat program di mana yang kecil ini bisa naik, yang besar bisa naik karena yang besar juga naik, kita fasilitasi perizinan, dia transparan, ada jangka waktunya. Saya hitung Mbak, kalau saya membuat program, misalkan dia pinjam di bank 1 bulan, itu saya hitung. Jadi perizinan harus jadi sebelum dia membayar bunga. Itu kita buat. Dan kami bergandengan tangan dengan OJK, kami bergandengan tangan dengan BPOM untuk kontrol seluruh kualitas makanan kami. Jadi bagi kami adalah manusia sehat itu lahir dan batinnya. Saya kira itu, terima kasih, mohon maaf kalau ada. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bu Wali. Kita selalu terkesima kalau bicara soal Surabaya. Terima kasih Bu. Last but not least, I think I would like to invite Camilla to share the World Bank's perspective on this.
Thank you so much. I have changed a little bit what I was going to speak about because, like so many others, I wanted to share a bit of our views on stunting and the implication that that can have on economic growth, as well as the importance of learning and skills development. But I think we've heard a lot about that today. I think we have all the facts on the table. And I also know that I'm the last person standing between you and the beach. So I will skip that part and instead talk a little bit about, share some thoughts on what can be done in Indonesia to grow human capital, what should a plan be. Just a few thoughts and suggestions on that. We heard from Ibu Sri Mulyani this morning about Indonesia's successes in growth. having grown sustainably at a very high rate over the past years, and also having a very ambitious future growth targets of 7% annually. And a key factor to reach this goal, and for Indonesia to also move towards becoming a high-income country, human capital will be key. We have 2 million new entrants into the labor market in Indonesia every year. If those students or new young people coming out of the education system have not learned, do not have the skills that they need, that is going to challenge Indonesia reaching that goal. Similarly, if we're not investing enough in the young children, in pregnancy, as well as in the early years of life, Indonesia is going to struggle to reach that goal. So to grow capital, it's necessary to invest, and to grow human capital, it's necessary to invest in people. And fortunately, Indonesia is doing that already quite well. We see a significant budget allocation on human development and human capital related investments. So I feel that Indonesia in a situation where you have a lot of the ingredients, you have a lot of the key programs, you spend a significant amount of money. Now it's about spending that money better and investing it better. For example, every year the government sends about $8 billion down to the village level. $31 billion, or 20% of the budget, as we've heard today, on education, and about $5.5 billion on social assistance program. Those are significant investments. On health as well, a lot of money is being spent, though not as much as we think it should. I would have to agree with my colleague from BPJS there, but still $14 billion a year being spent on health. So you have a lot of those ingredients. You have an excellent conditional cash transfer program, the PKH, which you have scaled up from 3.5 million households in 2016 to 10 million households this year. That's a significant accomplishment. And you also have key programs on nutrition, early childhood education, water and sanitation. These are key ingredients that Indonesia needs. So what are some of the things that you can do better with that money? I wanted to follow up a bit on, we've just been hearing from Ibu Risma, very, very inspirational, what can happen at the local government level. And, you know, Indonesia sends for human capital investments for health and education, almost 2/3 of the budget goes down to the local governments. So that means that to spend that money better becomes extremely important in order to be able to achieve results. So local government has a crucial role. And I think Ibu Risma has shown us what is possible. But for a lot of local governments, they're struggling to make the best out of these resources. They need better clarity of roles. They need better capacity to be able to translate these funds into results and learning. And they also need incentives to deliver. Currently, in our assessment, we see a lot of challenges in the data and monitoring systems, and the reporting, what type of data the local governments send up to the national level, and also the capacity of the local government to fulfill all of their functions. And at the national level, you also need the system to provide the necessary oversight and to use the budget to drive the result, the budget that you send down to the local government. So the whole system of decentralization in Indonesia, while bringing service delivery much closer to the people, have also created some management challenges that is really crucial that Indonesia tackles to strengthen further human capital. We believe that further linking the fiscal transfer to performance is definitely something that should be done going forward much more than it is today. And as part of that, establishing the incentives and the accountabilities to make sure that the money leads to result. We also saw some of the charts of how results vary so much across Indonesia. We know that East Indonesia in particular is struggling, it's very remote. It's hard for people to travel to facilities. And this is where, use of technology that we've been hearing a lot about, innovation, is something that's going to be very key to be able to improve service delivery in those areas. And for local governments to get those tools and to get the capacity to use technology in partnership with the private sector or by themselves. I also wanted to emphasize a bit on a lot of the human capital issues that we see are very complex. If you look at stunting, for example, you're talking about water, sanitation, early childhood education, health services, social protection. Actually, when we started working on this with the government of Indonesia, we found that for them to be able to implement the services to address stunting, it would require actions from 16 ministries and agencies across 4 levels of government. That's the huge management, coordination, and accountability challenge. So I would also really like to applaud the government for taking some very important steps towards establishing very high-level accountability mechanisms to address stunting, to establish very clearly what the roles and responsibilities of each of these 16 ministries and agencies at 4 levels of government should be, and for starting to put in place the mechanisms to be able to measure that. That's going to be key, because a lot of what we're talking about is management, is coordination. And another thing that I also wanted to highlight, we heard some excellent points from the Ministry of Education, from Pak Totok, and he also mentioned, of course, for learning, the importance of teachers, Pa, and I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things that I also wanted to highlight is that in Indonesia, in the coming years, 50% of your teachers are going to retire. That is going to be a huge challenge to tackle, and perhaps also an opportunity to make sure that the new teachers that are coming in are ready to take on this big challenge to ensure that learning comes out of the education system. Also, to follow up a bit of some of the points on skills, so to implement policies to improve skills development is going to be crucial, because you can't wait 15 years until the babies of today are ready to start their higher education. You need to also make sure that in the meantime you establish the skill system and help those that are currently between 15 and 20 years old to have the skills that they need to enter the labor market. Of course, improving vocational training is going to be part of that, but we've also heard about the importance of the socioeconomic skills, so that's one thing I wanted to really emphasize. But then also making sure that there is this match between the supply of skills and what the private sector needs. And since we're here in Bali, let's use the example of tourism. If Bali, and as well as all the other beautiful tourist destinations in Indonesia, have a system of saying, okay, these are the skills that we are going to need in the coming years, and I would argue that socioeconomic skills is very important for the tourism sector, but also other types of skills, management, economics. If Indonesia had a system of skills monitoring like they have in Australia, like they have in the UK, that would be a really important tool for you to allocate budget going forward for what type of education, to allow people more information when they choose their education, and maybe also for allocating scholarships. If you know what your future labor demand is going to look like and what your key sectors are going to need, you're going to be able to make management decisions that are so much better. I also wanted to make a final pitch for gender. We talked about it a little bit this morning, but what we're seeing is actually that Indonesia's female labor force participation is very, very low. You have achieved impressive equity in the education system. I don't think we see much disparities there, but something is happening in the transition from education to work, and you only have about 50% female labor force participation. And we know that actually 25% of that 50% that's not working would like to work. So policies that can help encourage that, or we talked about parental leave this morning, but also equity of wages is important to make sure that women also enter the labor force, and childcare to make sure that children who often still have the majority of the responsibility for childcare, have a trusted place to send their children while they're at work. So I think for Indonesia to really make the bend on human capital formation, you also need to make sure that 50% of your population is also able to contribute in the same way and to their highest potential. So I think I'll end with that. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Camilla. And also thank you for all of you. You've been so very good today and still here at almost 6 now. Thank you. So I think we still have, we're still on time in terms of the schedule. We will have time for a few questions on Slidos if there are some questions. We earlier touched upon how to set a strategy to collaborate human capital investment and policies. Let me just go to the few questions that we have. Considering. So the question is perhaps to Areef and on the multilateral bank. Can you explain the potential finance or financing options from multilateral organizations to contribute to increase the quality of human resources in member country? And perhaps later we'll also talk about how the financing sides are managed in Indonesia.
Look, the way the financing works in places like the IDB and the World Bank is it's reactive. So to some extent, there's a discussion between the government and the institution, and if the project makes sense, we go ahead and finance it. But we're trying to move away from pure financing as the IDB into more facilitating and leveraging on other development partners as well. So the whole concept of the MDBs being an ATM that the country would come to and merely get financing is shifting. Our focus now to a large extent is on creating the right platforms so that knowledge can be shared. We have a very good reverse linkage program, which is something that the government can tap into. So I think it's moved already beyond financing. So our role would be more one of a catalyst, a financier, but also at the same time a facilitator.
Thank you. I suppose the question is to would you like to? Oh yeah, that's right. There's a question to the World Bank as well.
Well, I thought maybe the same question. I just wanted to add a bit on the financing options, because I very much agree. I think we are usually supporting the government as a partner on both financing and knowledge. Of course, a lot of the global experiences that we're able to bring, and also investing in a lot of analytical work. But what I see especially promising for human capital development on the financing side in a country like Indonesia, you're already spending all this money that I just talked about, the $8 billion for villages, $30 billion for education, $5.5 billion for social protection. If our financing can help you achieve better results out of that money, then that would be absolutely a win-win. And we find that our results-based financing is one of the best tools that we have for that. So instead of coming in and financing slices of that budget, we are working with our clients to see, okay, these are the key results that you want to get out of this big budget that you're already putting in. How can we finance some incentives for you to be able to reach that, so that we don't pay for some of your investments, we pay for some of the results that come up. And we think, especially for human capital and some of these big financing platforms that the government already has, these are very promising approaches.
Thank you. And if we have to improve the way investment works in our government in Indonesia, perhaps the question is to Pak Totok. Pak Totok, if you have 2-3 key improvement points that we need to do in terms of our investing in human capital, what are the key areas that we should focus on?
That's question number one. Is that question number one?
No, different question. I'll go this to.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yes.
if you can pinpoint 2 or 3 key improvement areas in our.
Yeah. First of all, I think we need to avoid the unnecessary spending that only to comply with a certain regulation that actually is not proven that is effective for learning improvement. I'll give you example. For example, if the class size right now, a lot of research that class size is not really matters unless teachers are able to take the benefit of being administering class size. Otherwise, if you're not improving the teacher competence and then suddenly you build many new classrooms just to comply with the regulation that the class size has to be less than 32, for example, that's a waste of money. So, and this kind of unnecessary investment, I think, need to be avoided with the limited budget. The idea is to, like, of course, Surabaya special case with a lot of thinking what need to be done. And we hope that more and more Bupati and Walikota just thinking like Surabaya, I think it's a great one. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm also glad to hear that engineering, science, and education is key areas that LPDP is also looking at, and I think that's very important area. So, Astera, there's also another question here on Slido. Vocational educations also needed help. Is there any comments that you can add to this?
Thank you. Actually, under our current policy, we also try to look at vocation is one of our priority. But the problem here, we still try to discuss what kind of vocation, because when we are talking about vocation, there are many things to be included. So we have to be more focused on the subject of the vocation. And I think no problem for us to put some fund to support the vocation education.
Right. So, and the next question has also come to me here. Understanding the importance of improvement of public service, perhaps the question is to Fachmi. Is it necessary to find a new form of social protection in this digital era? How do you see this? I mean, you are reaching now to the millennials. We have more families are adapt to technologies.
It's a very difficult question, I think, for me. I think we back to definition of social protection. That social protection is in Indonesia we choose about the social solidarity concept for especially for the national health insurance. So many social protection, of course. One of the social protection is national health insurance. So I think there's two things here. First, in digital era there is a shifting the segmentation of the membership for national health insurance. You know, the term and condition that we need to build the social security system on national health in terms of national health insurance based on the social solidarity concept that depend on the is more formal sector is better than non-formal sectors. In digital era, I think there is shifting from the formal sector to the non-formal sectors. So we have to create the hold the membership. That is not easy to collect the premium from the non-formal sector rather than to formal sectors. Is one issue. Another issue, if you talk about the digital era, of course, make it easier. I hope it's cheaper and better quality of services in terms of the primary medical care to consultation, everything. You know, if we have the big data, we can make artificial intelligence for all the question and answer for the health symptom, everything. But of course cannot change the skill of the health provider. But for the consultation is, I think is easier for the digital era.
Thank you, Pak. Tadi seharian juga kita bicara mengenai inclusivity, juga mengenai beberapa isu mengenai bahwa di dalam baik politik maupun ekonomi perempuan masih underrepresented, Ibu. Dan kita lihat tadi beberapa program di Surabaya. Kira-kira seberapa penting sih ini, Bu, dan apa yang bisa Ibu sharing gitu ya, Ibu Risma, berkaitan dengan empowering perempuan dan kesetaraan gender di dalam pembentukan policy dan implementasi negara kita.
Terima kasih. Saya kira, mohon maaf, bukan karena saya perempuan dan bukan saya karena wali kota perempuan. Kami bisa membuktikan bahwa dengan keberdayaan kaum perempuan di Surabaya, maka kemudian anak-anak ini juga merasa bahwa mereka merasa bahwa yang dimana ibu-ibunya ini juga ikut bergabung di program pahlawan ekonomi, mereka kemudian berusaha. Jadi ada contohnya misalkan dulu adalah bisnis itu dimulai dari seorang ibu, tapi kemudian anak-anak ini sekarang ikut dia. Bahkan mereka bisa memilih, dia diterima misalkan di 2 perguruan tinggi. Dia kemudian memilih, oh ternyata saya akan lebih cepat untuk mendapatkan sesuatu atau saya bisa mandiri kalau saya kuliah di sektor ini. Nah ternyata itu sekarang diikuti beberapa anak dari para anggota pahlawan ekonomi ini. Nah kemudian apa yang kita lakukan? Kami bekerja dengan Google, kami bekerja sama dengan Facebook. Ternyata di Surabaya memang peserta kami punya, saya tadi lupa menyebutkan, kami punya namanya Startup Surabaya, di mana kami punya co-working space gratis untuk anak-anak Surabaya di koridor namanya. Itu peserta di Surabaya itu selalu perempuannya itu lebih tinggi dibandingkan daerah manapun di Indonesia. Jadi sekarang peserta di Surabaya sebagian besar itu juga banyak yang perempuan ini lebih juga, maksudnya tidak tidak tertinggal begitu. Jadi sebetulnya, nah ini menurut saya berpengaruh positif kepada juga anak-anak begitu. Nah dengan orang tua ikut kelompok di situ, maka kemudian dia juga mengerti yang dulunya hanya ibu rumah tangga, bahkan ada yang beberapa hanya lulusan SMP, tapi dia mengerti karena dia diajarkan oleh OJK tentang asuransi pendidikan, dia diajarkan untuk asuransi ini. Beberapa di antaranya sekarang mereka sudah membayar asuransi untuk pendidikan anak-anaknya. Nah, ini menurut saya bagus, di mana kemudian mereka mengerti. Jadi kalau kami melatih itu bukan hanya membuat produk. Ini bahkan sekarang kita latih karena mereka keuntungannya udah tinggi sekali. Kita latih dia harus menyiapkan mereka membayar pajak begitu. Nah, bagaimana cara menghitungnya? Kami dibantu OJK untuk itu, untuk untuk bagaimana menghitung pajak, bagaimana membayar asuransi, bagaimana mencari modal dan sebagainya. Itu seperti itu.
Baik, terima kasih Ibu. So I guess throughout the day, all morning, we've been discussing about some of the most important issues. I guess there is no doubt that human capital is very important for economic development as well as investment in this sector. So with that, can we give a big applause for our panelists this afternoon? And also another big applause for all of us who are still here in this room the whole day. It's been very good. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I'll return this to the MC, and thank you for your participation.
Thank you very much, Bapak Bernardus and all of the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of the last session. I would like to request the pleasure of the Inspector General, Ministry of Finance, Ibu Sumiati to come on stage and give the sign of appreciation to all of the speakers and moderator. Thank you very much for all of the moderators and speakers. Please kindly back to your seat. Ibu Sumiati, may we ask you to stay on stage to give your closing remark. And ladies and gentlemen, after 3 sessions of fruitful discussions, I'm now very pleased to invite Ibu Sumiati to conclude today's seminar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Mayor of Surabaya, Ibu Tri Rismaharini, distinguished panelists, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege for me to deliver the closing remark in this important seminar. I would like to thank to all of our distinguished speakers and panelists, as well as all of our honorable guests and participants for your contribution and active participation throughout this one-day seminar. Human capital investment is becoming a central and crucial factor in our effort to create an inclusive and sustainable economic growth. As the ultimate goal of human capital investment, strong human capital capacity has become a major development target, not only for developing economies, but also for developed countries. Throughout this seminar, we have learned that achieving a strong human capital capacity requires not only a sufficient allocation of budget, but also a thorough and comprehensive development strategy that includes the development of early childhood education program, the development of long life learning program, and the improvement of our vocational training and internship program, all of which are designed to give our human resources an end-to-end exposure to effective capacity building. We also take note that the development of human resource needs to have a holistic approach, tackling challenge of human capital development not only through education and training improvement, but also through the improvement of access to basic social services such as quality healthcare, clean water, and housing. From the session of today's seminar, we have also learned that developing an effective education system requires us to tackle issues that goes beyond the availability of public financing. Based on a number of highly referred international surveys on education, such as the OECD PISA survey, Indonesia is still lagging behind in the quality of education, compared to a number of Asian counterparties such as Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam. This indicates the need to look closely into the quality, quantity, and distribution of teachers, the robustness of curriculum, and the quality of facilities and education infrastructure. In addition, Indonesia's education system has still an ample space to improve in terms of developing an early childhood education program and support, especially for low-income families. We also note the importance of building stronger early childhood education is a solid foundation of knowledge and skill, which is necessary for the successful engagement in a higher education level. Therefore, the government has to invest more on education assets such as school, institution, teachers, and curriculum at this earliest level of education. Eventually, when students have completed the primary, secondary, or tertiary education, they should be given the opportunity and choice to pursue an unconventional learning path by developing a strong vocational training industry with the support of the private sectors. Students should be taught through a dynamic curriculum linked closely to market demand and by teachers and instructors whose knowledge and skills are being updated regularly. All of these efforts to improve the quality and effectiveness of education should be complemented by measures to provide a quality healthcare for individuals at all ages and throughout their lives. By expanding access to quality healthcare and nutritious food, health issues such as stunting and malnutrition can be addressed, and children can finally have a good chance to grow to their potential. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also learned that long life learning should become known to keep up with the changes in the labor market. Participation in women in labor force is also still low in Indonesia, so mainstreaming gender is also still another issue for Indonesia. Besides that, soft skill becoming quite important. From private sector point of view, for example, skill gap is still challenging. Soft skill to increase the ability to communicate and to manage people is one aspect of skill that would be developed in complement to the technical skill needed to keep up the demand of new technology. From the last session of today's seminar, we have learned that the healthy population in a country plays an important role in economic growth. This is because a connection exists between health and productivity. Thus, investment in health and education clearly can improve labor productivity. Summing up today's comprehensive discussion on issues and topics related to human capital development, I would like to underline the fact that conventional policy approach to economic growth may not yield a sufficient result on our human capital improvement. Allocating substantial amount of fund for education, health, and basic social services in itself is not enough to improve the quality of these crucial services, but a strong fiscal support, for example, should always be complemented by an effective quality delivery program taking into account human capacity and infrastructure availability. A substantial amount of homework still exists for all of us to complete in order to realize a robust and dynamic human capital development strategy. Today's seminar poses an opportunity for us to share ideas and knowledge between policymakers, academia, and international partners. This sharing of knowledge is crucial for us, not only to help building a more dynamic and robust strategy, but also to encourage buy-ins and ownership among policymakers at all levels of government. As an event that leads to an important global gathering of the World Bank and IMF annual meeting 2018, I will try to leave all of you with the hope that the result of this particular seminar will contribute to the discussion of human capital development strategy at a global level, both at the bank and at the fund. Concluding my remarks, I would like to express my deepest appreciation for the management of the World Bank Group, for the government of Bali, for my own team at the Ministry of Finance, and for our event organizer partner for their hard work to realize this important event. We are looking forward to meet all of you again in another Voyage to Indonesia seminar and eventually in the annual meeting of the World Bank and IMF 2018, which will be held in this same beautiful island of Bali. I wish all of you an enjoyable time for the rest of your stay in Bali and a safe journey back home. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu Sumiati. Please be seated again. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great seminar on our effort on investing to people. To build human capital is critical for economic growth and prosperity. We sincerely do hope that we are able to take the most of benefits of this seminar. Before you leave, please kindly be reminded to fill out our survey form and leave it on your desk. Your response is very important for us. For those of you who use the interpretation tools or SIS, please kindly return it back to the interpretation desk back side of this room. On behalf of Ministry of Finance Republic Indonesia, I would like to thank you for your coming to this seminar and hope you enjoy the rest of this day. We are looking forward to meeting you again in another occasion. Thank you very much. Good evening.